Hey, I'm Matt Di Costa, and with the help of Lime Industries, I'm going to show you how to get the best results when white setting, using lime putty and hardboard plaster. I'll also be covering good floating practices, as the float that white setters apply to has a massive impact on the overall quality of the final finish. Before we start though, it's always safety first. Cement and lime are highly alkaline and extremely hazardous to eye tissue, so please wear eye protection and try and avoid contact with your skin by wearing gloves. For more details on this, you can refer to the manufacturer's safety data sheets. Alright, let's get into it. Mortar won't stick to bricks covered in dust, so first we have to give these walls a light broom down, and then afterwards we'll give them a light spray with water as well. To get it right, we have to prepare the float coat properly. Now the aim here is to create a nice even suction and a level background that's free of imperfections. If we don't get that preparation right, we could have some problems with the white set later on. All the instructions for mixing are on the bags, so make sure you stick to the recommended ratios. If you don't, you won't get the suction needed from the float coat, and the overall hardness and durability of the white set may be compromised. It's really important that you use clean, sharp plastering sand, as it contains a lot less clay than other building sands. When mixing, add some of the water, and then add the cement and lime. Finally, add the sand. This will ensure the cement and lime binder are evenly blended through the sand. Once all the materials are combined into the mixer, you can add a little bit more water to get the density just right. As a rough guide, 1 cubic metre of sand should cover 60 square metres of brickwork. The mortar is applied by hawk and trowel. Once it's pushed on, it's ready for screeding, where we can touch up any small imperfections. This float will be left to cure for about 7 days. Okay, so we're ready to prepare the walls for white set. And the first thing we're going to do is give them the scrape down with the scraper. Once it's had a scrape, we want to give it a bit of a broom down as well. The idea is to get rid of any loose material that might compromise the finished set. Once the wall's scraped down, make sure you give the floor a good sweep away as well. And what it does is just alleviates any chance of us dragging any grit up into the white set when we're troweling. Once that's done, we wet the walls so they're ready for the white set before we mix our gauge. For this application, we're going to do what we call a 2-bag gauge. Now I'm going to do this with my mate Dave here, who's going to give me a hand. I wouldn't normally do this much by myself, as you've only got about 90 minutes working time. So as a general guide, you've got about 10 minutes to mix the plaster, you've got about 40 minutes to apply the white set to the float, and then a further 40 minutes for finishing. You can adjust the amount of material you mix as long as you stick to the recommended ratios, and always have plenty of hands on board to make sure that you get the walls on in good time. Our 2-bag gauge is going to get us about 36 square metres, which is roughly your standard bedroom size. So that means for each bag of lime putty, you're going to get about 18 square metres. Now, it's important that you understand, if you're going to do a 3-bag gauge or 3 bags of lime putty, it's important that you put 2 bags of hardboard plaster with that. First, we need to start with a clean tub, as dirty tools will actually accelerate the time it takes for the plaster to set. It could leave you in a bit of grief. The next step is we want to put our 2 bags of lime putty into the tub. Then we're going to add our water. Now I've got a bit of a rule with the water. If it's drinkable, it's usable, so make sure your stuff's clean. The next step after that is to put your hardboard plaster in, and then we're ready to mix. Now the mixing is done, it's time to apply the white set to the float. As you can see, this stuff goes on really easy. And that's the lime putty inside the mix acting as a lubricant, helping it to spread. It goes on beautiful. It's been about 40 minutes, our gauge is on, it's level and it's flat. Now it's time to start finishing. This is a bit wet for water. Now that these walls are complete, we're up to what I think is the most important stage, and that's letting the walls dry out properly. Through the processes of floating and setting, there's a lot of moisture that needs to come out and get out of the house. Leaving the glazing for a minimum of 4 days will allow the air to circulate and get all the water out of the house. Alternatively, if you've got to put your glazing in, just make sure you leave your windows open. It's really important that you get all of the moisture out of the house before you start the painting process. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, get in touch with Lime Industries. These guys really are the lime professionals. Now I'll have to rescue another home.